Hi everyone, I'm Temi.
And I'm Tobi.
And this is Totally on
on
Brand. Okay.
Okay.
Hey girl,
Hi, darling. How are
how's
you?
it going? I'm good.
Back on the couch with you.
Back on the couch. It's another day, another
How's your week been?
episode. Not bad. Busy, grinding. How about you?
I'm good. What are you guys working on at the moment?
Oh, so many
I actually
things.
asked you this. How many clients do you guys have at the moment on retainer?
I can't even count. I think it's like 7 or 8, and then maybe like 5 or 6 one-offs, like just
Okay,
one
so you do
project.
project-based and then
Yes,
you have
retainer.
retainers
Yes.
as well.
It's not bad. Can't complain.
And how's restructuring been?
It's been going
combined
well.
with
It's
job?
it's been going well. I think we Jennifer is now a head of operations.
Hi,
So I'm
Jennifer.
so I'm really happy that promotion happened. Then we also did another promotion internally, and we're just, having people on like career paths.
That's good.
So they know what they're gonna do, what they're going to achieve, what the path is for them.
I think that always makes a difference to staff. I think with a lot of our businesses, as a small segue, one of the things I realized before was my turnover was worse when I hadn't created growth paths
Absolutely.
within the company.
Absolutely.
So people don't know where they're going.
Yeah. You can't just be like working for 2 years without having some sort of fulfilling,
And a small tip, actually, you don't necessarily have to have a big organization to create growth paths.
Absolutely.
You can create sideways.
Yes, you can.
Slight upward.
You can. And also just trying to upskill the team as well, AI. So
Did you guys have to hire more people?
only one. I would say we only had one key person, but what we did was we structured the role so that the people who were already there had a clearer idea
what they
were doing. So some things could be dropped and some things could be added. So we just increased people's capacity.
Okay, well done.
Thank God. How's it going with you and the house?
It's okay. I think the petrol thing, the diesel thing is getting on my nerves. That's the truth. And then I had an issue with one of our ceilings.
Oh, wow.
So I just decided I was going to bring down the whole ceiling and investigate. And we've been on that for 2.5 weeks now.
Gosh.
So it's been quite painful for me, the kind of person I am, like to be patient through that. The money I was supposed to use for other things,
you've now had to put it in.
I've now had to put it in and just restructure, rethinking. So,
gosh, owning a business is owning a business is something, guys. It's tough.
Everyone says that's how it is, so I'm just embracing the tough time. But yeah, we're moving.
And God bless us, honestly. Like we were just thinking about this thing the other day, and I think it was just like a random conversation because we just come out of March now, we were talking about International Women's Day. And and they're supposed to be intentional, they're supposed to be inclusive, but to me, I feel like they've just become marketing vehicles. Like people use them to further an agenda. You find a lot of predominantly male organizations jumping on it, highlighting and spotlighting women in their organizations. And I was thinking to myself, am I being too cynical?
Funny you say that. This March, this year, I was genuinely, I need to pick my words carefully. No, actually, I don't. I was a bit jarred. All the previous years, I don't know, maybe it was because I had just gotten into entrepreneurship and it felt good to be recognized. But this year, I was a bit, I don't know, it just felt like I started asking myself, are these things posterity celebrations or do we really mean them? And then when you hear a lot of women saying, oh, I don't feel included, it's a popularity show, you have the same women recycled over and over when people are celebrating International Women's Day. But even though I felt that way, I had to check myself as well, because one of the things I realized is if things like that don't exist, for example, if no one was celebrating International Women's Day, how well would I realize that women are not as included in certain places? So it was almost like I was not clear, but I was also clear. So I had a battle with emotions. It's almost like I was going between emotions and logic. Like, Tobi, we need this clustered periods of celebration to highlight so that people pay attention. But at the same time, I was like, are we doing it right? And why do people still feel excluded?
So my thing about these days and these periods and these months is that I am so careful to distinguish between them being like, are you being celebrated or fetishized? So what that means is, okay, we know that every
Very odd.
March, fetishized, yeah. So
You bring
like,
all these big words into the pod. Like, what does it mean? I think I have a fetish right there. Got it.
So
Okay,
like
okay, yes.
it's okay. So in this context, it's that, are we going to just make a huge thing about women in the month of March just because that is what is trending? Or and for me, when I use the word fetish, is because it becomes very intense in the month of March.
It
You
is.
see a lot of graphics, you see a lot of messaging, you see a lot of, I don't know, imagery that
I
is,
love that you said that because there's a lot of
it's intense.
imagery.
It's intense, and it's
Yes.
intense in a way that doesn't make sense. Why is it only 1 month out of the year?
Yeah.
I know, of course, there are so many organizations that promotes women all throughout the year, but then as a global consumer, you see a lot of women focused content in March. And
Mm,
I feel like you just raised a good point. It's very important to actually celebrate women.
mm,
And if you want to have a month about it, fantastic. But then does that reflect your actual internal operations? Does it reflect your internal way of hiring, your culture, anything like, or is it
mm.
just, okay, it's March now, let's
Let's
just put
talk
out a
about
graphic and
everyone.
say,
Yeah.
this year apparently, and there's a lot of discourse around it, this year there was a theme that is, I think, always decided by, is it who I don't even know who decides the theme for International
Let's
Women's,
say that's actually good.
is it WHO, or is it, there's an
There's an organization
organization.
that does that.
Then apparently the corporate world just created another one.
Hmm?
Yeah, apparently the corporate world just created another theme
Okay.
that sounded more marketing friendly, and everybody ran with that. And then other people were now doing their research and their sleuthing, and they were
I'm
saying, this is
wondering
not which of the themes.
themes.
And I remember this happening last year as well. So I was
The
like,
corporate side of things, do they have a body?
I don't
Or
think so.
you
I think some, it's just like somebody just created a phrase and everybody jumped on it, and then you see the photo shoots and you see all the women in
yeah.
the organization come together and take photos, and I like
This is
it.
so
But do you
interesting.
imbibe that into your actual company
On a
culture
day to
on a day
day,
to day?
yeah. And you know what? Like this conversation is not even discrediting anyone or people who have to, what's the word? We're not discrediting any organization here because the truth is, I think we need it.
Yeah.
But I think we have to, like everything else, it's very important to understand the system
Mm-hmm.
of things so that we are not just creating I don't want people to mistake visibility for access.
Yeah.
They're very, very different. Being
Yep.
visible does not mean you're included.
Yep.
And when we start measuring success by the wrong indicators, then honestly, I think we've thoroughly missed the mark.
Completely.
And I liked when we're trying to analyze this topic and Temi came up with the phrase, the illusion of inclusion. And we're like, that's the topic. That's what we're discussing today. And yeah, the illusion of inclusion. That's it's very powerful actually.
Thank you.
Made you what was running when we're gisting and that topic came into your head? What was running through your mind in that moment?
My own thing, honestly, was about how, is this real? So the word illusion is, for me, really thinking about whether it's real. Okay, we're including you in a particular period, or it doesn't even have to be International Women's Month. It could be whatever it is. It could be a panel, it could be a conference, it could be, but is it real, or are you just doing it performatively? So that's why I was like, okay, the illusion of actually being included, and that's what I was talking about. But let's even talk about what inclusion means, right? What does inclusion mean? And inclusion has become a marketing, it's a buzzword now. It's a buzzword.
And it's big.
It's very big and it's very important. You know, when the whole world was talking about feminism and equal rights, and people were talking about equality versus equity versus this and versus that. So inclusion now became that word that everybody puts everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So if you ask people, they're going to have very different answers. Is an organization inclusive? Is an initiative driving inclusion? Is a panel about inclusion? And one of the easiest ways for me to question myself about how I really feel is how I feel when I see, for example, a panel, and I'm going to throw this question at you. When you see a panel of all men, like a conference panel, and a panel of all women, how do you feel?
Before I wouldn't have noticed. But interestingly enough, because of things like International Women's Day and month, and a lot of women being vocal about the inequalities, I notice more now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I saw a panel of all men, I probably would think, where's the women? Are there no women in that
Mm-hmm.
industry?
Mm-hmm.
If I saw a panel of all women, I wouldn't say anything.
Same.
But why is that? Is
We've
that
been
fair?
conditioned. I think, okay, so it's two things. I think because we are women in the corporate world, I think we've been conditioned to be very happy whenever we see thought leaders, women. But then, and I will also, I wonder if anybody listening has ever thought about this as well. If you ever do see a panel of all women, it's usually because the topic is about women, or it's like a Women's International Day, or it's like WIMBIZ. Like you would hardly see an oil and gas conference that has a panel of all women, unless it's about women in oil
Even
and
the
gas.
finance sector, except they intentionally go and make it women in oil and gas.
That's my point. It would have to be women in
Right.
finance, women in oil and gas. It wouldn't just be like oil and gas and then women. Even though we all know that there are women in every single industry, in every sector, there are women on oil rigs. So it's harder for us to accept when we see a panel of all men because we start
I
thinking, have you
see.
excluded the women?
I see.
If we see a panel of all women, we're like,
And do you think that the process of trying to make sure there's inclusion in these spaces, do you think it helps with long-term behavioral changes? Or do you think it's just we need to do a panel? Oh, all men. We need to throw a woman in it, or it's all women, we need to throw a man in it. Do you think like some of this concepts like the month of March kind of, do you think it generates long-term behavior changes?
It does. And as somebody who works conferences all the time, I can tell you that there have been moments where I'm like, oh, we need a woman. Like, and it's not because we did not merit any woman in that industry. It is that there are a lot of stakeholders and there are a lot of people making,
In those moments, is there a woman who raises the point that there's no women
It's usually
in this
me.
panel? Right.
It's usually me. But then I'm not saying that it's unanimous. Obviously, we have stakeholders, and sometimes we're just throwing out names and we're like, this person is doing so well in this sector and in this industry, and what have you, especially depending on, I mean, right now in Nigeria in the finance industry, I mean, come on, there are so many women CEOs of banks. You don't have to think too hard to get to their names. But there are some niche industries where you're like, okay, I need to think a little bit harder. Maybe just because maybe the glass ceiling is there. Women haven't really like reached the but I will say that it is shaped by things like International Women's Day. We are a little bit more in tune with the lack of a woman as opposed to just, and I'm throwing this out there to also play devil's advocate. Sometimes the 5 people on the panel that are best for that panel could all be men.
There's that.
I'm being honest. Like, it doesn't mean, do you understand? But we are conditioned now.
So interesting. Just a segue. I was watching something, a random thing popped to my IG yesterday with Emma Gray talking to someone, and she was speaking
about the investing and how when she hears her husband talking to
yes,
her friends.
see it
I
as
saw
well.
that.
And that made me think, So it was so interesting that we're coming to the studio today and I saw that. And just a summary, what she was trying to share was that when she hears her husband on the phone to his guys, they're talking about, oh, an investment I made and this happened and that happened and this happened. And there's money mixed with friendship, mixed with, there's no shyness to have this conversation. But she said she had not one friend she could have a conversation with like that. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that, do we then have to continue like pushing months like March to start making women aware that sometimes maybe it lies with us to create the change? Because do you talk about money with your girlfriends?
It's funny. I feel like I do, but not in the way men do. So I would have 1 or 2 friends. Like you and I are
We don't have any other
always
conversation
talking
about money and
always
work.
talking about money and opportunity. And we both said it so many times. We want to create a space for women to be able to talk about this and talk about that and blah, blah, blah. But I would have maybe one other friend who maybe in a moment would be like, oh, this is what I'm thinking I want to do, blah, blah, blah. But not the way men do. Men will talk about like the latest investment opportunity, the latest this, the latest that. Like it's part of their conversation.
Yeah, they even meet up just to talk about it.
Yeah,
for
they
an hour
do.
or two.
They do.
And this topic is so interesting because inclusion itself is so broad. I remember when I was, this is such a segue, when I was in the UK working, and they would have like this event that they probably need a black woman in. When I was younger, I didn't understand it. So when they asked me to go to those events, I just felt like I get to be around big people and, you know, successful people and smart people. 2 years into it of being, I would go to work and I was just a normal person. No one noticed anything I was doing. But then an event would come up and it would be like, oh, hi, Toby. We have selected you to attend this event on behalf of the company. I usually thought, oh my God, I'm doing well. They notice my work. But the next year of working and it's just silent. And then I get the email again. And by the third year, I started feeling insulted. It was no longer an opportunity. It
You were
was,
like
okay,
a token.
I'm being used.
Yeah.
Literally a token of diversity. And I say that to say that without months like March, I wonder if I would know my worth quicker or if it would have taken longer if there were not people who were screaming through the roof
Yeah.
about certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to, in situations like this, maybe you have to take the good with the bad. So it's like, okay, fantastic. There is going to be a month that we can leverage and spotlight women. And it could also be Black History Month. It could also be any of the other, like maybe Asian Pacific History Months. Like, if there is a month that they're going to say, okay, let us do as much as we can. And if that leads to things like funds and loan portfolios and grants and access to opportunities and all these other things for women, fine. Like, it's very, very good. But I also think that we need to be able to discern between what is actual progress and what is just marketing. For example, I work in an industry that is largely male dominated, especially when it comes to decision makers. So for me, what I have to do, again, because there are situations in which I would be the only woman in a room or one of the few women in the room, and then you now start developing coping mechanisms.
Right.
And my coping mechanism, I'm always laughing with you about this, is because I am super laid back when I'm in Lagos. I'm like baggy shirt, baggy trousers, flat shoes, just chilling. When I'm at work, I have to take up space physically. Like,
Right.
so as soon as I walk into the room, you're going to notice what I'm wearing. You're going to notice how I smell. You're going to hear my voice.
So you do that intentionally?
I do it intentionally.
I like that.
I do that intentionally because you will notice me, because I will obviously be a minority. And then that can sometimes lead to being discredited or being underappreciated. And when all of a sudden having to have all these coping mechanisms throughout the year, then in March it's like, come and sit at the head of the table, you know, like, come forward and let's do a post about how fantastic you are. And I'm like, but in the 11 months of the year that weren't March, I basically had to prove that I was. And, you know, people will be very, very quick to say that, oh, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. But it's almost institutionalized at this point.
Can I play devil's advocate for a bit? Based on the concept of inclusion, the whole point is that they're marginalized groups and they're minorities.
Yes.
Now, is the solution to bring those minorities all year round or market them all year round? Or is the solution to do what is currently happening, which is take a period and kind of hyper focus on it, and hopefully it trickles down to the rest of the year? Because if you think about it, if a company has 500 employees who are all excellent and 400 of them happen to be men, what is the company supposed to do, really? Are they supposed to say, oh, for you to know that we're inclusive, we're going to only talk about the women in the organization? Or is it a case where, okay, for us to show you that we're doing better, we're going to make sure when this month, I don't know, of March is, we also use that opportunity to let you know that we're inclusive, we have some great women in the company. And for me, I don't know how we start to form a distinct between people who are performing for visibility as a company or people who are genuinely like, look, we do have a lot of excellent people and we want to show you that the women of our organization are also good. I never know how to,
I mean, honestly,
arrange that in my head.
It's a good question. When I think about it, I love the idea of the inclusive months. I do. I think it's very important to spotlight. I mean, you know, it's fine and it's good, but I think that when companies do this or when organizations do this, they should also spend time throughout the rest of the year also spotlighting. Like
Mm,
International Women's Day is essentially a marketing construct, and it's very,
I
very good
think
because
so.
it's one of those positive ones that, can help further
Mm,
women's agendas and build and, increase equity in the corporate world. But I think that as a company, you should also be able to show that maybe you are as fair to men as you are to women. So are you a company that doesn't like how long is maternity leave? Do you
mm,
have um do you have access, or do you have like funding? Do you have opportunities? What is your
mm.
employment rates? What is your promotion rates? And can you show that it's based on merit? Because I would never say I don't even know. It's a long conversation. Affirmative
It
action is a
really
very long
is.
conversation, but I don't know that I would ever want a company to promote a woman who isn't doing as well as a man just because she's a woman. Yeah, I don't know
Exactly.
that I believe in that, but I think that if you are actually hiring diversely and
Mhm.
fairly, then show us. It's not just in March that you should be
Yeah.
talking about it. It's not just in a specific period that you are going to spotlight. I mean, do it all year round and show us that you're
Mm.
doing it all year round.
Yeah, no, that is so interesting. And it brings us to trying to understand the line between merit and
Mm-hmm.
when is it based on merit and when
Mm.
is it time to market.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how companies are supposed to discern between that because if professionals are being recognized, then he's whoever is good
Mm-hmm.
at it in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you something? Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like in a woman's cycle of life, she has a lot more stop and start
Yeah, she does.
as opposed to perhaps a guy in the
She does. And
workplace?
that's one of the conversations in the world right now is that, a guy, and okay, so let's say we take a man and a woman, we hire them on the same day and they have the same qualifications and then they both have the same paths in life. They both get married. Now, the
Hmm.
woman wants to have a baby. She is going to be out of commission for 6 months. Let's say 3 months before she gives birth and
Maybe,
three
yeah.
months. That I think
Yes, let's even say six
it's
months for
because in
a
Nigeria it's
power.
3 months, right?
Right.
Isn't I don't even know what I think it's three
I
months in
think it's
Nigeria.
three. I'm not even
So
sure.
she's out of commission and when we say out of commission, we mean physically because there is still the mental load of returning to work when you have a newborn.
Mm.
She has to do things like pick up children from school. She has to pick them up from the doctor's office. She has to just the mental load. Even if she's not picking them up from school, she's thinking about who is picking them up from school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's just more prone to illness after she's given birth.
Mm.
Young babies are more prone to illness because they're babies. So
Mm.
she's
Everything's
slow.
off.
She kind of like plateaus, whereas her male counterpart is.
Keeps going. He's still on a trajectory.
So it's always interesting because then it calls into question what systems are even in place to allow for people to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's one. Now you asked a question about like merit and marketing. If I was an organization, I don't think that I would say, okay, in March, let's just like have all these women in the forefront. I think it should be more about let's have performance. I don't know. It's
So
it's a it's
basically,
a
like,
strange
we
question.
need to add more discernment and strategy to the
Yes,
knowledge we have
yes,
gained by having those
absolutely.
months, basically.
And it's little things that companies do, for example, that increase
Mm.
productivity. So, maybe in countries and probably in some companies in Nigeria, they have a room for nursing moms, or they have a room for like a creche, or
Mm.
they will have a room where you can go and pump.
Mm.
Those things add productivity. So the woman is there and she's like, I know I need to do these things, but then the office has created a space for me to do
So
them.
I
So
feel
I've
like
done it
there's
and now I'm back to being
yeah,
productive. I've read studies about how women's productivity leaps when
yeah,
you just create access for them in the office. Like it's biology, dear.
yeah,
It's not my fault that my body's producing milk, but I
yeah.
can still do my spreadsheets and
While
my
I'm doing
projections
that,
and my tasks and my strategies. Yes, exactly. So
a lot of people. So someone said to me recently, "Oh, Toby, they had said to me, I was like, oh, I had this panel to be on,
mm,
but I don't know if I'll be able to attend it." And I was
mm,
just speaking generally, and she goes, "Oh, lucky you.
mm,
Like, people like us don't get invited to panel." I'm like,
mm,
huh?
mm,
Like, why so cynical?
mm,
And usually sometimes depends on my mood, I probe and sometimes I don't. But to that time I wanted to probe. So I was like, why do you say that? And she goes, have you not noticed everything in Lagos, or I don't want to use Nigeria as a whole,
mm,
so let me hyper focus on Lagos.
mm,
Everything is so performative.
mm,
They choose just the popular girls and they say, and I was like, well, I don't think so. She goes, well, Tobes, you're an it girl, you're popular, so of course people are inviting you to talk. They want your face everywhere. But people like us who are also entrepreneurs, no one notices us
mm,
and stuff. And it made me start thinking of what inclusion means generally. Do people generally think everyone can be included
Mm-hmm.
in the communication and marketing of things?
Mm-hmm.
Or should people have better expectations of what inclusion means? Like, if someone is going to market inclusion, in my head, they're going to use a small minority to accelerate the information or
Mm-hmm.
distribute the communication.
Mm-hmm.
But why do people often feel excluded, especially in this country, when it comes to women
Mm.
organizations,
Mm.
women supporting women,
Mm.
women feeling like they're really on the same close path professional
Mm-hmm.
trajectory
Mm-hmm.
as men? I don't know if you hear it a
I
lot.
do, and I think this still goes back to my thoughts that a lot of professional events and a lot of conferences and summits are really part of a larger PR machine, right? So whether it is a summit or an event directly tied to an organization, an NGO, a company, a sector, an industry, it's still going to be a lot of PR around what that organization is doing, which is good. It's a good thing. I think that a summit or a conference is a fantastic way to promote what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Now, as with all things good PR, you need good spokespeople and you need visibility. So if you have somebody on your panel that already has a huge following, chances are you're going to consider them because you want that huge following to key into what the conference is about.
Right.
Either it's your product, your service, your initiative.
Exactly.
So having that, there's a balance. There should be a balance between having people who are popular but also, worthy of being on the panel.
Right. Okay.
Where you start to feel a bit jarred is when you see quote unquote an it girl in fashion on like an energy panel.
Right. Got it. I see.
So there's nothing wrong. I think it's fantastic if you are knowledgeable, well spoken, and well presented in that sector or that topic. Absolutely. But then when people say things like, oh, people like me don't get invited to panels, it's really about PR and positioning.
Right.
If you have positioned yourself for panels, chances are you'll be invited
What
onto
about the
panels.
organization side of things? So there were a few organizations, and I don't want to mention names, but even when I started my career, there were organizations I asked myself, do I want to join this? And when I did more research into it, I don't know if I was listening to the haters.
It was like a popularity contest.
Yeah, so sometimes I would say to someone, oh, I'm thinking of joining. They're like, well, please, those ones, they're not serious. So this is what they do, this is what they do, this is what they do. And it put me off a lot of organizations. So I found myself not joining any organization.
Same.
I didn't have help, and I was just out of the waters. Then when it became my turn, I was not the one, trying to figure out what organizations to create and stuff. I panicked because I thought, they will think the same thing about the things I'm creating that me and my peers thought about this organization. Do we have a problem accepting when people are making an effort? Because there's also a lot of hating.
There is.
I don't know if
it's
you
about
understand
it.
what
It
I'm
happens.
saying.
It happens to me too, and it's really about discernment. I think it's honestly so. Isn't it wonderful when you think about how age really does come with experience, right? So you move back, you're fresh into the corporate world, and somebody says, "Come and join this organization, women supporting women," and then you maybe don't join. Maybe you go for one or two events, and then you get in, and you're like, "Whoa." This does not feel like women supporting women. So it kind of puts you off. And then obviously you hear voices in your ear. But then you can also talk to another person who will say that this organization
Has
basically
changed their
furthered my
life.
career.
Yeah.
Without this organization, I would never have been able to network with this person, that person. I wouldn't have been able to learn.
Yeah.
And so you do find a lot of professional or career women today in Nigeria creating smaller organizations or smaller initiatives. Even if it's not an organization, it's like an initiative that allows you to come and network with other people. It's about discernment. You have to decide. Everybody, we talked about this so many times in the podcast. You need to write down your own goals for your own life.
And then figure out
what it is. Are you into non-profit? Are you into NGOs? Are you into corporate? If you want to climb the corporate ladder, there's an organization for you.
That'll probably be
If you're all about impacts and nation building and then there's another organization
I
for
also
you.
think, no offense, some of you sit back and all you like to do is complain
Yes, and wait for somebody to come
and
and
wait for
invite you
someone.
somewhere.
Yeah,
You have to
like
position.
when you say you're not
Yeah.
included, the truth is no one is going to come into your house
And
and
look for
say,
you.
hi, do you
Yeah.
want to be part of
Yeah.
this? You kind
Yeah.
of have to push up,
Yeah.
don't you?
It's very hard.
I'm not even going to lie. I used to be that girl. I thought that if I worked, and I know you teach me this a lot, and you always tell me, Tobes, positioning, because I genuinely thought if I sat back, worked hard, put my head down, someone would notice me. There was a time when I was younger when I would see like people on Forbes under 30, especially in Nigeria, and I'd be like, "Oh, how did they get there? Who's going to notice me?"
Do you,
But now I can't even lie. I don't think
do
I
you,
want to be on that list because
you know,
it's literally so dicey being on
can
it. But
we?
I guess my point
Mm-hmm.
is I was once the person who also sat back
Mm-hmm.
and thought, why is no one noticing me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Until one day I woke up and thought, nobody
Mm-hmm.
is coming to save you in your
Mm-hmm.
little corner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But is that fair?
Let's even talk very briefly about Forbes 30 under 30
Ah,
because
Forbes 30 under 30.
there are so many
Yeah, that everybody that
things.
is on there always ends up.
There's always that thing. As you go through your career, there are always things that can either inflate your sense of imposter syndrome or kind of make you feel unworthy. Now, lists and days and months and things that are just targeted for me can really put those into hyper focus, because are you saying that only these 30 people under the age of 30 are doing amazing things? No. It's very important to position yourself, because while I'm fairly certain that you don't pay to be on Forbes 30 under 30.
You don't?
You position. No,
Okay.
officially you don't.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you position. And that positioning costs money. So if you're if you can't, see, people are serious. From uni, they'll just say, I want to be on Forbes 30 under 30.
Yeah.
Everything they do is going to be positioned around that. The PR people they manage, they hire,
I have
the
friends who
crisis
are
management
so
people.
good with press.
They will go to every conference. And those
Yes.
conferences cost money.
Exactly.
So
maybe
while
is you that you're sitting back and looking and side
there's
eyeing
also
and
a Forbes
complaining.
there's also a Forbes 30 under 30 summit
Right.
that you can
I see
start
what
going
you
to from when
say.
you're like 25, and you meet the right people and you get the right contacts. Of course, you have to do the work
You know, as
too.
you're saying this, it makes sense because I used to dream of being on like masterclass or like TEDx.
That's
And
my
then
dream. TEDx, not
yes,
Forbes under 30 under 30,
but
like
you know,
TEDx.
it's
Yeah.
so weird because I would now be mute. I would say,
Can you
I'm not
imagine?
speaking.
Really?
I don't want to be on
Why
conferences.
would they
And one of
now?
my friend looked at me and he looked at me and he goes, so how do you
How do
expect to
you
go on TEDx
just
and
because
who
they
is going
like
to
you?
listen to your
Exactly.
masterclass? Like, if you don't start speaking now
Exactly.
and showing your intelligence,
Exactly.
then shush.
Exactly.
And that was when I realized that, okay, inclusion is two-sided.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to hear other people
Mm-hmm.
and you also have to show up
Mm-hmm.
to be included, right?
And most important, you have to do the work, because if you imagine, it's so hard. Imagine being one of the most innovative founders under 30. They're like thousands of us that are going to be innovative founders. But on top of being an
Who are
innovative
the
founder,
30?
you also have to be positioning yourself. You also have to be well spoken. You also have to have a little bit of a PR machine behind you. Like, you probably now in this day and age need a presence. People need to know you, trust you, care about your opinion. So while it's not you paying for it, you are really marketing yourself to
So
get
that's
there.
why those same names kind of go
Yes, that
over
is
and
absolutely
over
where I was
because
getting
they
to.
have clarity
They
in what
have
they want to
gotten
do.
that system and process down.
Do you think in Nigeria people are noticed for merit?
Okay. Everywhere.
Is a very like I had to ask that because Temi, for the longest time, I was working so hard silently, and I kept telling myself, "Don't worry, you'll be noticed. You'll be noticed. You'll be noticed. You'll be noticed." And one day I woke up, and I'm being very honest about this because I always compared myself to my counterparts abroad, where you feel like a magazine just notices what they're doing and carries them. But I think I'm realizing now it's not that simple.
Merit alone is not enough, especially in societies like this. Obviously, everywhere in the world this happens. You can be the smartest person in the room and nobody will notice you, and then you can be high school dropout that's create an app. I don't know, but merit alone is not
It's
enough.
tough.
It's not enough.
That's very hard
It's
to
not enough. And we're
swallow.
in a loud society, which means that if
Yeah.
your voice gets lost in the noise if you're not speaking loudly.
Yeah.
Right. So if people are not, and it could be in your own very small corner of the world. Like I'm not saying
Yeah.
everybody should have like a huge social media presence, but if you are a particularly experienced person or an expert in a subject matter and you want people to know that you're an expert in that subject matter, you have to speak on it, because if you
Yeah.
don't, how would they know?
Yeah.
Do you understand? How would they know? And now we are coming up against machine learning. We're coming up against artificial intelligence. It is going to be harder for people to just rely on merit alone. I mean, unless you're like the best doctor.
Yeah.
Even then, you probably still have to
Have
be
to.
hired by a good hospital
Yeah.
in a good area with, like it's getting harder for it to be merit alone. But I mean,
I don't know how I feel about that. That's probably, I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the hardest
It
things
is.
I'm dealing with
Me too.
because I'm trying to transition from working very hard to working very smart.
Welcome.
Girl, I don't like how you said that. The way you said
I mean,
it, I was
and
so
the
like,
thing is,
girl, we noticed since and we've been trying to do this.
no, the thing is, it's really, it can be quite disheartening because we work hard regardless.
Now
We're
I know
gonna
I
work
have to
hard
network.
regardless,
Now
but
I
you
know
have to
I have
network,
to.
yeah.
And just from networking alone, recently I got invited to Davos, and I said to myself, "Oh, so this is it.
Mhm.
Like I have to also come out of my shell."
You're doing
Because
a good job of it.
when I see people
Yeah.
on those things, when I
Yeah.
see women going to
Yeah.
Davos or
Yeah.
they're going
Yeah.
to WEF or this
Yeah. Yeah.
conference, I'm like, "Oh, I want to go there."
Yeah.
But I never knew how to. And
Mhm.
then the moment someone is like, "Well, Toby, you have to come out of your shell, speak to more people,
Mhm.
network,
Mhm.
meet the right people." And I started doing that slowly, and I finally got an invite. And it made me feel good. But then it made me realize there's still other people like the old me who
Yeah.
are kind of sitting back and thinking, no one invites me. Is it a popularity contest, sorry, but it is not.
Not always. And the thing is that you just said the key thing, no one invites me. If you want to be invited, you have to make yourself seen to be invited. Because I, on the other hand, look at those things and I'm like, oh, I mean, one day I'll be on there. Like, but I
Yeah.
don't yearn for it. That, like, I don't, and that's also part of my own personality where it's like,
Yes.
please, I don't, like I'm,
I don't, yeah,
mm,
it's not that serious.
but it's if you do yearn for it, you can't sit back and be like, no one is inviting me. You sort of have to start making,
Making moves.
moves in the
It's so
right circles.
interesting.
Yeah.
I brought and I want to talk about this and I want to ask why.
Mm.
I got an invite, or Timmy and I got an invite to a conference, but the conference we had to pay
Mhm.
to go to the event. And when I first saw it, I mean, I don't understand these things. So I thought to myself, But I thought, let me ask someone who is in this industry, who throws conferences, who has a lot of summits, and who I think is on a more, on a stronger trajectory in her career than myself in terms of understanding how PR, press, and global professionalism works. So when I brought it to Temi was just like, we have professional things. She was like, oh, this sounds so interesting. But Toby, I don't think we need to do anything that involves us being like paying for it. I think we should wait and allow things happen organically. And I thought, phew, oh, thank God. But I had to share it with her because I didn't want to be too cynical, because I also didn't trust my reasons at the time. Then when you were able to articulate your reasons, I thought that was it. Now, would we do a lot of people pay for these things? And is it bad to pay to get yourself out
Fantastic.
there?
So yes, very, very many conferences that you see people attending, you have to pay to attend. Very rarely would you, not very rarely, I think it depends on the level at which they want you to be involved in their conference. They will pay you to come to the conference. But most people pay to attend, and you can pay to speak, and you can pay to be featured. You can even pay to win certain awards.
Oh my God.
Right. So they
Thank
so
you. I
so
get so many
so they
emails.
yes, we get so
Yes.
they will say, okay, the thinking behind is that we've recognized you as somebody who's worthy of an award in this section, in this sector, whatever. However, in order for you to claim the award, you need to pay for it. Now, you have to understand that these organizations are they're private organizations that need to make
So
profits.
they all probably need the money
So
to
they
kind
need the
of
money
keep
to place,
going.
to even throw the
Right.
award ceremony.
I see.
Now, to your question of is it bad, I wouldn't do it, but I don't think it's bad in any way, shape, or form, because trust me, we just finished saying that if you want to position yourself, there are ways to do it. If you love WEF and you want to go and diligently for 5 years you've been going as an attendee, and then maybe you go one day as like a speaker, and then you just show people your value and show people what you know and what you can
I see.
what you can bring to the table, the value. It's more likely that you will get invited one day than somebody who just didn't
I
do any
love
of
how you're
that.
advising people and saying that it's okay for them to pay. Why
Don't
did you
pay.
tell me?
Oh, me. Oh,
Why did you
because
say
no,
no,
no, no,
Toby?
no,
We
no,
need
no,
it to
no,
be
no, no. Wait,
organic. I
hold on,
want
hold
to
on.
know.
I'm speaking. I'm speaking to people who have decided that that is the route they want to go on. There's
Fair enough.
nothing wrong with that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Again,
And that's actually very true.
I always say, know your own personal goals and your own personal aspirations. I feel like for us,
It just didn't feel
it just didn't fit.
natural.
Yes, it just didn't
Yeah.
fit. That's it. Not that I'm saying, oh,
Can I ask you
anybody
a
that
question? Would
pays.
there be other ones that come in that you say, Tobes, let's do this? Is that a possibility?
Possibly. There's some things that are so prestigious that you'll be like, this thing should be on my CV.
Right.
Even if I have to buy tickets, if I have
I
to pay for
never thought of
hotel, if I have to,
that.
if it's not something that you are like, oh, this is going to,
Oh my God, you can put these things on your CV.
yes, you can. You should do a LinkedIn post.
Oh my. Oh yeah, LinkedIn. Temi, have not been on LinkedIn in years.
Me
I
too. It's
don't know how
awful.
to
I'm so bad.
communicate
I'm
on
so bad.
LinkedIn.
I think I know how to, but it just makes me shy.
I just feel like, girl, like, shush. Is that, I don't know. I don't know. That's actually a good point. You can put these things on your CV so you can actually see them as an accelerator
Yeah.
or like a step
Yes,
into a career
exactly.
journey.
Exactly.
Ah,
But then you see, like you were talking about earlier, you can now understand why some people might now feel as though it's not merit based or as though they are excluded.
yeah.
It's a whole complicated network and system of how to get ahead in life. Like the older you get, the more you realize
I
that everything is about positioning and
see.
leveraging. But I always say, let the skill be there first. Let the knowledge be there first. Let the
Yeah.
merits be there first. But alone is not enough. It's like telling people that you are a fantastic fashion designer, but you don't put any of your clothes on social media.
How will anyone know? Okay. Access dressed as inclusion. Now, I think I really want to address this because a lot of people genuinely feel like they don't have access and they're not included. But I think what Timmy and I are trying to say now is it's important you don't feel too much and you act rather. So you need to decide what you want for yourself. And if that journey involves you coming out and attending some of these things to finally get included, then do it.
Absolutely.
If you really, really don't feel like you need it, then leave it. But then don't sit in the corner and be a hater about it and complain about other people, because the truth is, when you do build something, most of the people that would come are people in your current social,
That's
economic,
true.
or professional radar. What do I mean? I did not come from money. I had retail jobs. Like when my friends were in finance, investment bank, working for big corporations, I was working in malls. But I knew what I wanted. I was very aspirational. So there was a journey I had to start going with my job. And I was like, I'll meet them in front on a sideways level. Now, interestingly enough, a lot of people think I'm a rich kid now. So if imagine I go and create a body, an organization, so I go and set up something like a Wimbies now, and I start having people come. It'd probably be 8 girls. It'd probably be cool people. It'd probably be people of a certain social economic class, and I can see people thinking,
Another Nepo baby.
another nepo baby has created something.
But that's not the
And
case.
I guess I want to ask: is that did I create something not inclusive, or is that simply a product of my current career stage? And I think that's the credit I want to give other organizations. Like, it's very important you don't sit back and judge because you don't even know how they got there. Because I know that when organizations like Wimbies were created, they were so helpful and profound. But along the way, like, I know when I wanted to join, I thought, "Ugh, will it work for me? Will it not?" And then I guess I don't even know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is it's so easy to judge when you come into the middle of something without knowing why and how it started.
You know, that's so interesting. As you started talking about it, I realized that a lot of our peers have started trying to create inclusive circles for women.
Yes.
Like there's the Temi one,
Yes,
there's
the
the
Temi
Premium Pie
Circle. Yes,
Collective, there's
yes,
another one
yes.
called Women International.
I'm so happy.
And they're all, I think, trying to address this same problem
But
where
people are still going to sit on the outside and say,
okay, so you know what we should task these organizations with doing? Maybe you know in your heart that you're inclusive, but people get like scared because like every time I see
I
an
think that's
Instagram
what
post,
makes
every
it.
time I see an Instagram post, it's all the like it girls in Lagos and with their like
Yes.
Birkins or whatever.
Yes.
I think maybe some of these organizations need to actually go a little step further to be more inclusive. So what does that mean? You can start doing drives in universities. You can start doing drives for women
Mm.
at the beginning of their career. You can have open houses. It really is about
I see what you
perception.
mean. So maybe like a further step in addressing that lack of inclusivity people
Yes,
feel.
yes.
But is it the actually no, I should have asked that. I was gonna say, is it the job of the organization who's already going out of their way
Mm,
to create a, I don't know, non-profit or
it could be. Another thing that could work would be a tiered system. You know, a lot of
fair?
these things are exclusionary because of price. You know, like
Yeah.
joining fees are very high.
Yeah.
But you could tier it so that the joining fee at its highest gives the highest value, which could be for
Because
more
doing
like
something
corporate
for
people.
free for
No,
people
of
is
course.
very
Especially when
tough.
you as an organization also needs to run.
Yeah, or even if you're busy,
If
like
you're busy,
if
yeah.
me and you created a top,
Yeah.
I don't know, a
Mm-hmm.
top, I don't even know what to call it, circle or
Circle space,
something,
yeah.
we would have to be sacrificing time,
Yes, we would.
money,
We
energy.
would. And even the time and money and energy of
Yes,
the people we bring in to
exactly. And
participate.
if we
Yeah.
don't do it so thoroughly, it's
Mm.
easy for people to judge and say,
Yeah.
here we go,
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
Whereas in our minds, we're doing our best. There's such a gap
There is a
there.
gap. And I think everybody just needs to be a bit thoughtful and also
Mm.
discerning. So if you are somebody who wouldn't normally talk to like a certain, maybe like you don't feel comfortable talking to CEOs, and you know we've talked about this before on the
Yeah.
podcast. Don't now look at an organization that is predominantly CEOs and be like, I wish I was there. No, start smaller and network your way up to the point where you feel comfortable
Yeah.
in those rooms.
Yeah.
Those rooms are not there to make you feel less than. It's just that these are where these women
Yeah.
are.
And I must say, like, I'm so proud of a lot of women these
Mm,
days, like women who are, I don't know, for lack of a better word, very successful and
mm,
perhaps don't need to look back
mm,
or look down or look sideways. I think I'm seeing such a difference. Like,
mm,
I would go online and I would see Auntie Lisa commenting on
mm,
people's like
mm,
fashion posts or like
mm,
smaller brands, and
mm,
but she is Lisa Folawio.
mm,
She doesn't like,
mm.
not that she doesn't need to do that,
But she can
but she
appreciate
can.
something good when she sees it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I see a lot of women in the older generation
Doing that
doing
as
more
well.
of that. And
Yeah.
even us as well. Like,
Yeah.
I know I get a lot of emails from young women. We get a
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
emails from
Mhm.
young
Mhm.
women and
Mhm.
we address it straight
Mhm.
away.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess the whole point of this is the truth is there probably is an illusion of inclusion.
Absolutely.
However, don't sit back and whine and
Mhm.
sulk and
Mhm.
complain, because the truth is everyone has an objective. That
Mhm.
organization you're judging has an objective,
Mhm.
and they cannot reach every single person.
Absolutely.
You have to get up, if it's in your career goal, to go
Mhm.
and make sure they notice you.
Mhm.
That's hard shot for a lot of people.
It's not easy, but that's the thing. Nothing ever is. Honestly,
True.
to be, just think about it. Let's assume that the pinnacle of like appreciation or being noted in your industry is to be 30 Forbes 30 under 30. That's 30 people. There are
Out
probably a
of
1,000
thousands.
applicants. So
That's another
it's
thing. People
not
don't even fill
easy. It's
applications.
not supposed to be exactly. It's supposed to be selected by Forbes, the magazine, or something like that. I feel like you can. I don't know if it's an application or something like a submission. I don't know how
I'm
to
not
explain it.
sure.
Like you can submit, and then they can decide to
It's
choose
like
you.
the Moe Vev clicker woman of the
Yes, like
yeah
that
thing.
too. So,
So
so of
yeah,
course it's going to be hard. I'm so sorry. Of course it's going to
I'm
be
gonna even tell you
difficult.
a small
It is not
story.
going to be
I
easy.
actually am supposed to apply for that every year.
Do you?
I want to.
Why haven't you?
That's the problem. I'll sit and complain, but then
You won't.
I see the deadline looming and I'm like, I should, then I chicken out. But these
Mm.
days, I'm so happy because someone like Riwa, Ijema, they would
Mhm.
message me and say, Tobi, do
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
see me, and I'm like, okay, I feel encouraged. But before, I wondered, how do they select? How does it work? But there's a form
Of course,
right there.
there is.
So maybe we're our own issues
We are, which
sometimes.
is why I feel like what you were just telling us about don't whine about it when you haven't really,
Done
because
anything
the
about it.
people, women or men, who are in these spaces, they've worked so hard.
Yeah.
They've worked. I've seen it. And I'm like, that's why I don't do it. I'm exhausted. I'm like, how? What you mean? I'm supposed to be talking to people all the time? Count me out.
I get.
But if you really want it for yourself,
Then go for it.
yeah.
No, I like this topic. I think even I will walk away like trying to adjust some things.
Me
I think for me
too.
as well, it comes with being a accidental entrepreneur and maybe even a lack of confidence in knowing where I want to go. But you said something very important, like write your own goals down and start walking that walk intention.
Absolutely.
Remember I was telling Temi, like, this year I want to be an Afrotech. I want to be here. I want to be here. And I would never have thought that of myself before. Usually I would sit back. And even last week, like we hosted the Southeastern Chamber of Commerce. And what they're trying to do is get connected to Nigeria and make Nigeria more of a tourist destination for the diaspora, because a lot of them have perception. If you don't know anyone in the continent, it's not easy for you to get up and say, I'm traveling to Nigeria. And I realized that I should join. Even the Harambians, I wanted to join them years ago, but I just never did anything about it.
Yeah.
So no, I really like this conversation. Anyway, I don't know where stage you're in your career, or if you're someone who has a lot of aspirations for certain organizations that you perhaps think, oh, I don't know if I can join. Are they inclusive enough? And honestly, we're just here to tell you that I don't think anyone sits there and deliberately not include people. I think most of them are just on the trajectory of what they need to do. And maybe it's time that you get up and you go and make space, go and take up space, and go and do what you want to do. And best believe that if you push, someone will pull.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed. And yeah, like we said, the work is hard, but if you're focused and you're dedicated, you will get there in the end. Just make sure that the merit is there as well. Like, you know what you're talking about. Because one thing that we didn't really touch on, but I will just end with, is that I really detest when people performatively or do not actually have the knowledge, but then are so good at marketing that they get into spaces that should be reserved for people with the knowledge. So what that means is, I don't want people to blag their way into rooms. You know, you should actually, of course it does. Said we didn't touch on it, but it's essentially almost like social media has compounded it. It's made it a reality. You can be big and you can be a big personality and you can be loud, but not really have any subject matter expertise.
Well, then you get picked over someone
who has the
technical know-how.
So what I would love to see is more people who have the technical know-how, but who also want to be positioning themselves for growth and visibility to do so.
And that's also, I like what Temi just said. That's essentially what Tob is trying to do. If you notice from our guest to how we kind of handle the topics, it's because we realize that there's millions of people in this country who are in careers or entrepreneurship, and they're still trying to navigate. And we literally sat down and said, rather than this one or two advice we're giving people via email or calling someone, let us sit together and converse about these things.
That's actually the purpose of Totally On Brand.
We've been self-funding this pod for 3 years. And we cannot tell you how much we've spent on it. So I say that to say it is tough, but it's all our jobs, and hopefully we keep doing well. Things are much better now than they used to be, so hopefully they just keep going in that direction.
Yeah, guys, we can't wait to continue this conversation in the comments. So don't forget to like, follow, share, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.